And Curtis, get started.
Hey, Coach, obviously it was a tough blow for Ole Miss to lose Joyner for the time period they have. I'm just curious if you've seen that change their dynamic at all. And then what have you thought about some of those young guards like Murrell and Ruffin who've stepped up in his replacement?
Obviously, Ruffin, number 2 is a dynamic freshman who's got great speed, changes the pace of the game, can get in the teeth of the defense, has great vision. And then Matthew Murrell, number 11 at the off guard spot, shooting the ball at a high clip from 3, also doing a good job putting it on the deck. Both those guys are, really a dynamic backcourt together. And then you got Rodriguez, 15 and 14, Fagan. Both those guys play hard. And obviously Brooks inside, number 3, has done a great job, offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, blocking shots as well. And then number 4, Breakfield's a lefty who's multi-dimensional at his size, can play multiple positions. So a team that changes up their defenses as well.
And I wanted to ask you, obviously you found a combination that you like in the starting lineup, big, physical, but it gives you the opportunity to be flexible and use guys like Devo and Chris off the bench. I'm just curious, what have you seen from the bench and maybe what do you want to see in the way that they can impact the group when they do come in?
Yeah, certainly the starting lineup has really helped give us an identity. It's unique. Oftentimes what's a player's natural position doesn't mean that's the natural mismatch. And so, Adisi's more of a mismatch when he's at the 4 or when he's at the 2. He's got a natural, mismatch kind of on a nightly basis because he's as good as off guard rebounder as at the off guard spot. You play him at the small forward spot, and there's a lot of guys his size in this league at that spot. So, the bigger lineups worked well. I think off the bench, with any team of any sport, you want a new energy, a new vibe. You would like the complexion of the game to change as well. As far as Chris is concerned, want to continue to, we want him to play even faster than what he is. I mean, sometimes he walks the ball up too much. We'd like him to full court defensive pressure and use his leverage and size more from a defensive standpoint. And then Devo, it's, he does all, can change complexions of game with the intangible things, the offensive rebounding, last year he was such a great defender. And we need him to get back to playing defense at the elite level that he's capable of playing. And then anything else, transition scoring, all those other things that he can provide as well for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Bob? Sorry, I was looking something up. Hey, Eric, Mike had this in his notes, and I think it still holds true after the weekend. You guys lead the nation in made free throws, and I think you're right behind Iona in attempts. What did you think this would be, that kind of team, and just what's been the key to that, getting the line so much and knocking them all down?
Yeah, I think, Bob, I don't know if we really, like we thought we were going to be a really good shooting team based on the numbers when we put together the roster, and that's not necessarily been the case. Although all the shooting drills that we've done behind closed doors, we've shot the ball as well as any team that I've coached, but that has not translated to the games. But the free throws attempted has always been a big part of our philosophy. I can remember coaching the Kings and having individual conversations with Kevin Martin about, changing his game up to get to the foul line more, because when you draw free throws attempted, it allows your, number one, it can put foul trouble on the opposition. Number two, it allows your defense to get set. You're not facing as many transition situations when you get a high volume of FTAs, but you need players to not just attack off the dribble, but you need them to play unselfish when the help comes to make, an extra pass, and then that person also being in attack mode. You need to be a good cutting team to draw free throws attempted. I think we have several guys led by a DC that are really good cutters that draw fouls that way. Pick and roll players. Chris draws a lot of fouls off pick and rolls or in open floor. So I think it's a balance of all of that. Maybe above all of that is your spacing. And then trying to figure out isolation situations where you have an advantage/disadvantage against the defense where you can beat people off the dribble. So I think that's a long-winded way to your answer, Bob.
I like long-winded answers. Okay, you gotta put some in the story. I can't make this stuff up, because I'm not supposed to. But it's like for instance, the other night against Carolina, you guys don't hit a three, but you win by 16 because I think you had 27 free throws. I mean, how much can getting to the line and then shooting well can make up for other deficiencies?
Yeah, again, it's interesting how a team behind closed doors and then a team, at times we've struggled from the foul line. When we do we have a drill called perfect free throw where we've got to make 8 in a row without a miss. Then we got to make 7 in a row without a miss, 6 in a row without a miss, 5 in a row without a miss, 4 in a row, 3, 2, 1. And that drill this year has taken us a little bit longer, maybe than prior years. But when we get in the game, we've done a good job, maybe because we've got the right people, taking the free throws. But yeah, I think it helps a lot. I mean, I think anytime you have a good draw foul team, you always want them to try to make more free throws than the opposition attempts.
Yeah, I got a couple more. I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks.
Scotty?
Coach, Deese was just with us, and I asked him, I think in the past we heard Kamani say that Trey Wade's kind of like the team's uncle in a way, and he's got some uncle-like qualities kind of in the way that he leads or goes about things just around the team. I'm curious if you've picked up on any of that with Trey.
Well, I think he's one of our best communicators or talkers in practice. We call it buddy coaching. He does a great job with that. I think that the players really respect him because he's an intangible player. He's a guy that, we're not going to run offensive plays for. He knows his defensive assignments. He's a great defensive blockout player. But yeah, I do think that from a chemistry standpoint, the team really, not only likes playing with Trey, but they also really respect what he does for them on the floor and how unselfish he is, both offensively and defensively. He's an unselfish player.
Trey's had a couple of stretches this season where his minutes probably haven't been where he wanted, but you've called on him his last 4 games. He's given you at least 20, I think, in all 4, 30 in 3 of them. I mean, just what does it say about him that he was ready, just when you put his name in that lineup?
Yeah, and I think that's, it's a great point. Again, regardless of sport, regardless of role, it's, are you physically ready to play when your number's called? Are you mentally ready when your number's called? Do you understand the game plan when your number's called? Because certainly with Trey, there's been games when he's played, bit minutes where, and then you got to go back and you got to evaluate as a coach. Did he play enough? Did he play too much? Can his role be expanded? And he's been a guy that's just consistently in practice when no one's around, but the coaching staff and his teammates. And I like to get input from the players too. I mean, last year I really relied on Justin and Jaylen. I know when we made the decision to start some of our younger players, I had consulted with some of our veterans and they felt like it was time, meaning the locker room felt like some of the younger guys last year had earned that start. And I think that, the team is, they were ready for Trey to have a bigger role as well, because, he's not a guy that's going to take, bad shots or he's not going to be a ball stopper. And with our team, we kind of needed to find that guy that would be a really, really great team complementary guy. And I think that's what we found in Trey. Nate?
Yeah, Eric, Jaylen got named SEC Co-Player of the Week. Has he, as an all-round player, now with his offense too, even developed quicker than maybe you thought he would this year?
I mean, certainly, proud and happy that Jay Will got named Co-Player of the Week. That's a great honor in a league that's got a lot of great players. But no, I think that when we looked at our team and throughout the summer, really, Nate, I mean, I thought that he was going to make a big jump. I think that, you want players from their freshman to sophomore year to come back way more confident. Jaylen has even talked about, the shape that he was in coming into last year compared to this year. He's in much better shape. Maybe not even the weight hasn't changed that much, but it's just been distribute, now it's strength. And we felt like he was more confident on both sides of the ball. So, is he having a great year? Yes. Is he doing some things? Maybe, I don't know if we would ever envision our center having 6 steals. But no, I think he's, where we had hoped he would be, having a huge impact, being a guy that we totally rely on in so many different areas. So I think his progression's been phenomenal.
Also, does it surprise you that with the bigger lineup and with Hadis as a guard, that the turnovers have actually gone down rather than when you're playing 2 true guards?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is just, staying within your game. DC knows that, he can make spot up threes. He knows he's a really good cutter. He's not going to dribble drive into traffic. So all those things, we're not, although we had a high volume of turnovers the other night, A&M is in the top 10 in turning people over. What we haven't had with this new lineup is we haven't had as many careless turnovers in transition. We haven't had, we haven't been charging over people as much as we maybe were in the past. The passing's been on time and aren't on target a little bit better, maybe than what it was earlier. Here's an interesting stat for you. Including inbounds passing, we had 308 passes last game. I've never had a team come close to 308 passes. If you take away the inbound passing, we had 268 passes. Well, we all understand, we've talked about it, with the media openly, that 200 is a goal, and to hit 268 is a really, really, really incredible number as far as sharing the basketball. So, and we all know the minutes that the bigger lineup played was a heck of a lot of minutes. And so we've even passed the ball dramatically more with that bigger lineup as well.
Thank you.
Nick?
Hey, Coach, just going back to Jaylen Williams. When I watch him on the floor, it just looks like he is genuinely happy to be playing. He's always smiling. He's always just energetic. Is he always like that, even in practice? Just such a positive energy guy?
Yeah, he is, Nick. I mean, I think, when you walk in the training room, he's a guy, when you're around people like that, he's an energy giver, like he gives energy in practice. He gives energy during the game. He gives energy during timeouts. It becomes a little bit more challenging to coach, an energy zapper or a guy that doesn't bring energy and is not on an emotional, positive, sharing with teammates, sharing with coaches. And Jay Will is, when I go down to practice right now, like, you kind of gravitate to the guys that are positive and upbeat. And he was like that last year. I can tell you, when he was struggling to try to find his role and his niche, he just kept working. When I looked down there in between classes, he was down shooting. Quite honestly, he was in here as much last year when he wasn't playing, maybe even more than he has been this year. So really impressed with his outlook on things. even last year, maybe when he wasn't playing out of the gate as much as, he probably had hoped those first 12 games last year.
Randy?
Eric, talk about Kamani Johnson. What's his situation physically? And if he's ready to go, how do you see his role changing going forward?
Yeah, Randy, I think, first of all, before he got hurt, I mean, we were obviously really excited with how he had been playing. Now he's, it's a challenge. He's got to get, he's lost some of his conditioning for sure, because, when you have an ankle, you're not able to, do things on the floor or do things on a treadmill, because it's, obviously, your ankle. So I think conditioning wise, he's not where, we would love him to be, because not to his fault, it's just the injury. He was at about 70%, Randy, last game. With the doctors and the trainers, we were only really going to use him if it was, a need and something that we desperately had to have, because we wanted to try to give him, we were off yesterday. We wanted to give him a little bit more time before we started practice Monday and Tuesday. He's probably looking at being right around 90 to 95%, as we look into Wednesday's game in Oxford. So, what his role will be will depend on the guys that are in front of him right now and what the team needs on that given night. But he will be completely available and ready to play without a minute's restriction or anything come Wednesday.
And speaking of roles, Eric, with JD getting to foul problems, how does that differ, or how does that change your rotation, or who you might want to substitute?
Yeah, I don't think, I think that whether it's in the flow of the game or, obviously, Chris and Devo, both those guys have been guys that have been sharing that point guard responsibility. And even when JD is in the game, they all three have kind of shared it. And obviously Devo's got experience from last year being a part of an Elite Eight team. And JD's got a ton of experience from being on that team last year. And then Chris likes being a, preseason all ACC player and playing 3 years at Miami at a high level. I think that those three veteran guys, they have a comfort level. So I don't think it really changes too much, Randy, because you're going to take JD out anyhow during stretches of games as well. So I think, kind of the way we've been playing, I think we played pretty good basketball of late. And, we just need Chris to continue to feel more comfortable at that position maybe than he has at times.
Bob, one final question, please.
Yeah, Eric, Tony obviously played well at Pitt, but the team didn't win very much. How big a selling point for you guys was, hey, you can come here and win. We just went to the Elite Eight. What do you see from him? You guys start off well, had a dip. Now you're win again. I mean, I would think for a guy like him that really hadn't experienced this would be a pretty fun ride.
Yeah, I think winning is really important to Deese. And also, his mom was a big part of the recruiting process. And I think winning and player development was a big part of what was important to them as a family. And certainly, playing in an atmosphere and environment in a place where expectations in development and expectations on winning, I think were really, really important to him in his decision where to go. And, he put up good numbers at Pitt, but again, I think that, it becomes much different when every possession, you're playing in closer games, the wins and losses determine a lot as well. Like the numbers become a little bit hollow if you're not, winning basketball games. So, but he's such a vital piece to what we want to do on both sides of the ball.
Well, then how do you see him enjoying, being on a winning team for a change?
Yeah, I think he's really happy with being here. Happy both on the floor and off the floor, because I've asked him, I've asked his mom. But I think he feels a great deal of comfort playing in this system, and I think he's comfortable with how we have expectations from a development standpoint as well. I think he's a guy that wants to continue to get better.
Is your shoulder feeling any better?
Nah, it stinks, but first road trip with the shoulder. Riley bought me a new chair that we're traveling with. That's it looks like a kind of like a beach / lawn chair that I'll be trying to sleep in. My wife is coming on the trip. She can't wait to. No, I'm just joking. She doesn't really want to go, but I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about our defense, our defensive rebounding, our defensive field goal percentage, our 3-point defense, all things that have improved, right? Nobody brought any of that up.
I got more questions. So you got time?
No, I got to get down there. I got 5 minutes.
Okay. So is that chair going to fit on the plane?
Oh yeah, right. It's one of those fold ups, man.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Maybe you can tweet out a picture of it or so.
How many
I mean,
retweets?
not right now. I mean,
How many retweets can I get on that, Bob?
I mean, when you're in your hotel lounging in it, have your wife take a photo and tweet it out.
Do I have to tag you since it was
No.
your idea?
No, just email. I mean, just tweet it.